Hey,
Hi.
what are you doing? I haven't seen you forever.
All they do is talk, talk. Talk, 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 talk. All they do is talk, talk. Talk, 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 talk. All they do is talk, talk.
Bam.
Bam. I always wait for you to go, Vince.
I thought you'd catch me this time.
I want to bam. I'm gonna bam.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada boom.
Everybody on Talk Talk, because this is an exclusive Talk Talk members only broadcast, isn't it? Right, club?
It is. Mm-hmm.
And I am Shanti Niven, just in case you don't know. And this is David Lofi. We started this group.
The loaf.
Either you're going to hate us or love us for that, but our hearts were golden when we started it off. What our real desire was to create a group where we could really encourage positive, constructive communication, be able to talk about difficult subjects, be able to discuss things, even disagree, without all of the vitriol and anger and bitterness that so often goes on social media. You know, there's just so much of that. So we really wanted to find, we're not perfect, by the way. David and I have had our arguments.
By far, especially her. Hey, Sosh.
Your fault, did you say?
I said especially her. You said we're not perfect. I said especially her.
Oh, I thought you said it's my fault.
Then I said, hey, Sosh. But she only said, hi, Shanti. Again, I was like, I don't exist on, like, I thought there were two here, but hey, I don't know. Hey, Eric.
He loves me. Hi, Shosh. Hi, Eric. You see, Eric was going to make up for it by saying, hey, Dave.
He should have said, hey, Dave.
Hey, he's saying hey to both of us.
Right. Hey, say hi to Elizabeth, too. Elizabeth's here.
Hi, Elizabeth. Okay, so just I want to mention to everybody that we have a wonderful behind-the-scenes person, Ramirez, who is actually our show producer. And what she does, so just in case you're wondering why some of your comments don't get read aloud on the show, she decides what gets read, what doesn't, what comes on the show. Hey, Jay.
Hey, Jay.
He actually sends us the messages that we read, because Facebook is about 10 seconds behind us, right, David? And that can lead to some confusion. Remember in the early days, we were so confused.
I know, because we were like watching and seeing things come in after us.
Right.
Yeah, 5 to 10 seconds. Yeah.
Right.
About that.
Confusing, because we would have it on, and then, 10 seconds later, it was very confusing. Hi, David, Shosh says.
Hey, Sosh.
All right. So our topic for tonight is how to have those tough conversations, those tough topics. And there are so many of these, whether it be politics or religion, or even coming down to your breath stinks.
Or money.
Hi, Jeffrey.
In a relationship. Hey, Jeffrey. Right?
So you can there's all sorts of these tough conversations, even having tough conversations with your kids, for example, about, the birds and the bees.
What's that?
The buzzes and the tweets.
Okay.
When they first started thinking about this group, David had no gray hair, and look at him now.
I know, right?
And notice Marty didn't say anything about me. I mean, it didn't mention any of the lines under my eyes.
When they first started thinking about this group, David. Yeah, that's right. It's all Shanti's fault. It very, very well be the light. I actually do see there's like a lot of.
It's actually very attractive, so don't worry about it at all. You look good. Okay, so could we try today,
Right.
Once in our broadcasting history, could we try to stay on topic? At 6:45, by the way, guys,
are you? Wait a minute. Are you trying to imply that I'm the one that gets off topic all the time?
you're the one who distracts me. I'm easily distracted.
Is that what you're trying to say? I don't know about that.
You say, oh, look at this little colorful flower over here. And I go,
Squirrel!
I know, squirrel. And I'm terrible. Okay, so Shosh says it's
Sosh.
not Sosh, Shosh. It's CSHSH. Shosh.
That's what I said.
Didn't you? Said Soch.
Soch, shosh, soch.
Think about.
All right, shosh.
Soch. There we go. All right. So back on topic, please. The topic is how to have those tough conversations, and so we've had a few of those on the group, haven't we?
Yep, we have.
Really difficult conversations, and I have studied communication for 30 years. I'm not trying to claim that I am the leading expert in the world, but there isn't much that I haven't studied on the subject and been through every course and bit of training that you can imagine. And so I do know a fair amount about this, but it's not like I have perfected it. Communication is something that is very tied in with our emotions. David, what's happening to your eyes? They're doing this all over the, like, are you? Okay, so let me.
Sorry, I'm reading these here, and then I'm. Hey, Catherine, how are you?
Catherine Miller. So, okay, let's just get back into the subject. So the thing with this is communication is something that is very tied in with our emotions. Would you agree with that, David?
I definitely agree with that.
So if you're in an emotional place, let's say you get angered by something, you know, you could be triggered into saying, I've done this. I've said things that are like, oops, that you really regret. But tonight's topic again.
Happens.
Marty Richardson. Are you doing roasts tonight, Marty? Farms I own. Lots of them because I love them. Okay, so how do we have those tough conversations? And I think the goal in a tough conversation is a win-win. In any communication, in any conversation, in any transaction is a win-win, right? Everybody's happy. You have a viewpoint, they have a viewpoint, you can disagree, but you can walk away smiling. We don't want to have.
Well, that's how you should. They have a different opinion. I think when you kind of like really bring it into yourself and you're like, oh, I can't believe that person's opinion. They believe that, you know, and they're so, you know, it's their opinion. It's their belief. You have a different opinion. You have a different view.
Okay, I think one of the things that leads to tough conversations is where people, and this happens even adults, I noticed this, people slip into my least favorite thing, which is name calling. So for example, you don't agree with them and then someone will turn around and say, you're an idiot.
Right. Hey, Audra.
Hi, Audra. Great to see you. And painting your bathroom. Well, that's good.
You got to paint the bathroom every once in a while.
Every time I look at David, I want to paint my bathroom too. So
I have no idea what that even means.
So, okay. And all right, think about when was the last difficult conversation you had? I actually want to mention something where recently a good friend of mine posted up something on Talk Talk about, you know, COVID has become a kind of content. Some people are on one side, don't wear masks. Others are on wear the masks, obey the rules, don't obey the rules, whatever it is. There's this push and pull right now. But somebody posted something on Talk Talk, which was a medical professional's opinion and saying that this thing is real. There are people dying here and please put on your masks kind of thing. And and she said to me her post was removed as hate speech.
Actually, I removed that one.
Well, that's why I say I then did some investigating because I wanted to find out what happened. And lo and behold, I found out that my partner in crime is the guilty person.
But do you want to know why? It wasn't because it was hate or anything like that. That was not where it was removed.
Why would she say that it came? I mean, that was. I mean,
I'm not sure why that was. I mean, there wasn't any opinion why it was removed. I mean, stated why it was removed. I just removed it. The reason I removed it is because I commented on it. But when I commented on it, when you went to comment on it, it went to that other person's page.
Oh,
and it was their view, right? And whoever.
By the way, what was the view? What was their view?
Their view is that COVID is, you know, if you don't believe in COVID, come here and work at the hospital. Because if you haven't worked at the hospital, you don't know what it's like. And COVID's, you know, a lot realer, and there's people really dying and blah, 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 and on and on. And then if you people should stop protesting this COVID. You know, if you don't believe it, you know, come down here, stop protesting the COVID or your view. Stop, you know, basically stop your opinion, like wearing the mask. You should stay home, locked in, whatever. That was kind of what the view was. And then at the end, it came to, you know, and if you're going to tell me F you, I'll tell you F you. And I was kind of, hey, I was cool with all that. I was fine with all of it. What happened though was I went to go comment on it. And when I went and commented on it, I put my opinion. I said, hey, different people have different views. And do you want me to let me finish before you?
Yes, carry on.
So different people have different views. And in that, I left my view, which was, in the majority of the United States, the mortality rate is very low. It's in California, it's like 0.004, which is lower than, say, suicide or car accidents, which is like 0.14, or a lot of other incidents, overdose, other things, right? So can we say that people should be strained in their houses? I just gave my point of view.
Right.
Well, I was immediately attacked. I wasn't like they gave me their opinion of it and said whatever. I wasn't attacked like when I got a bunch of hate signs, hate faces, but I got some comments back to me that were like shaming me, like, oh, everybody else's comments are so happy and beautiful, and everybody else's comments were like, oh, you're so great and you're so wonderful and blah blah blah. But that's not even relational to what the person was saying. The person was saying, hey, you guys should stop having your other side opinion and disrespecting them, trying to say like disrespecting us medical professionals because you guys are going out and protesting that you're locked inside or that you're wearing a mask or whatever. And it's another side of the view.
Right. Hang on one second.
I was corrected on that. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to say that you're on Talk with David Lofi. He's very intense right now, and Shanti Niven. And tonight's talk is about tough topics and how to have those tough conversations, which is what we're doing right now. I'm holding him to task for deleting a post without, by the way, consulting with anybody else. He just did it. But he's now explaining himself and telling us why he did that. And let's face it, this is a very difficult subject. COVID is a very difficult subject, and there are strong feelings on either side. And truth be told, I consider myself a fairly intelligent person. I do a lot of research, I do my homework, and I don't fully know what the right things to do. I tend to be
sure.
So I wear the freaking mask. I do what I'm supposed to do. But I absolutely 100% support people's rights to their own opinions. And I do agree with you, David, there that so it wasn't actually the post.
Well, I didn't get to finish. So in that, it wasn't a post. It was my post. It was on another wall, and everybody else's post was like, "Oh, you're such a hero. You're whatever. Blah blah blah. This and that. You shouldn't. And yours is so angry." And now, but no, I said it's not angry. It's statistical information, statistical data. It's based on information and mortality rates, and that's how they want to sugarcoat or whatever. But I was kind of shamed, and I was like, you know what? I don't feel that I need to be shamed about my opinion. Why don't you come out with your opinion against mine? I wasn't being argumentative. I wasn't being abusive to them. I wasn't saying, hey, screw you guys. I didn't even use the F word, which the article used the F word twice in it.
Right.
So I wasn't being violent or anything. So I thought, you know what? If the only way I can comment on this topic is by going to that page and the only view that they're going to accept without shaming people, I'm going to go ahead and remove this. And that's where that came down to, because I don't think shaming is a methodology. Shaming is bullying. If you're shaming people for doing stuff, it's bullying. It's just like the big kid at school. What does he do? He tries to like pressure you and push you and say, hey, whatever, and shame you, embarrass you or whatever. And that's what shaming is trying to embarrass you amongst the larger group, in this particular methodology, which is used often in Europe.
Could I say something?
Go ahead.
I still want to let you have your space to talk. I just want to mention Scott was talking about COVID being real. He personally knows people who've passed away.
Mm-hmm. I didn't say it wasn't real.
But to be attacked, shaming you is not right. And so this is where I want to interject and say, and wanted to let you finish completely what it is that you're saying. I think that's the point of the group. We want people to share opinions, whether people agree or not agree. It is way. And after David's finished telling his little story here, and his, because I held him to task as his partner, we're business partners, we're equals. So I held him to task for this and wanted to know why this post was deleted. When to me, it didn't seem to be, it wasn't a post that was hateful. I think it was just the behaviors of the people afterwards. And I think that's what we're trying to avoid on this group, is let's have intelligent conversation, and we can disagree. And in fact, you are going to have a higher chance of changing somebody's mind if you listen and ask questions and then present your point of view in a non-threatening way. When there is a
Right.
element involved, as it happens, David, the conversation closes. Just like
Well, the thing was that I couldn't comment on our page about it. It's when I don't know what setting they had on their Facebook page, but whenever I clicked on comment, it went back to their post. Even afterwards, when I went back, I was like, all right, this isn't good because I can't comment on our page, which I just wanted to put my point of view out there and use statistical data and information to provide it. Not that I was saying that, hey, COVID isn't real. Who says COVID's not real? Who says that? I mean, of course it's real. But is the mentality that it's that real that, or not real that, the death rate, that's the part that's the information that it's kind of like not real. The information they're using is based on basically New York, New Jersey. If you talked about just the United States, half the deaths occurred in New York and New Jersey, which is about 60,000 or about 60 million people, which is only a small percentage of the 300 million people in the United States, and which brings up the number up overall. But in that, my opinion in that is that we have an open view, we have a discussion, we have this thing to have a view. And some of that in those views, when we start to restrict those by shaming out those views and saying this is the only view, it doesn't work into our future. It's detrimental to our future that people have an opinion, people have a view, and they should be able to discuss it.
I 100% agree, and that's why we started this group. And Richard Bazila says,
Yeah.
well, the new bullies. I agree that bullying is not just an overt, like the playground bully. Bullying can also be a sort of a looking down your nose at somebody who doesn't agree with you.
Yeah.
One thing I want to mention here quickly is that one thing I noticed coming to America and trying to learn about politics and about humane parties, about the Republicans and the Democrats, and learning about different things so I can make an informed decision when it comes to my getting there, was discovering that one of the things that I find that we should all strike out, and that is personal attack on how somebody looks. Like, I mean, one of the things that I find is that, and we all agree on that, right? It's not okay to, for example, fat shame. It's not okay.
Right. It's not okay to shame people at all.
Something that is beyond.
Right.
Never argue with anyone who brings you fish and chips. I have no idea what that means.
Well,
never shame anybody for something that they have absolutely no power over. If they have something that they don't have any power over, and yet we see this routinely here, and people even comment on personal comments about people in politics, talking about their bodies, talking about their hair or whatever. So I think the number one thing is no shaming, period. And we shouldn't be making comments of a personal nature on stuff like that. Really not right.
So in some of that, I think that when we're shaming and closing off other views and other point of views, no matter what they are, not in necessarily COVID and all these things became very political and, but I'm saying it overall views, we have to be able to discuss a large spectrum of views in different areas. And in that, I mean, if we think back about even like, if say I was to invent something and that invention in 30 years was actually going to help to cure cancer. It was something I invented, but somebody adapted it and used it further on to cure cancer. And if we thought, hey, you know what? You can't make that little thing you're going to make. And it's funny, though, in 1899, Charles Joule actually was the commissioner of the patent office. And he had said, everything that can be invented has been invented, right? Can you imagine this guy, 1899, right? Computers hadn't been invented. I mean, that's the logic in that somebody's thought may be the thought for this next view or this next steps that we take as a society as a whole. So I think that by closing off people's opinion, by shaming or trying to stop their opinion or their view, you should be able to discuss their opinion against it.
There is an excellent, before you go to your promo, David, is I really want to mention what Jeffrey Lee Steinberg was saying, because he's got a very valid point. He said, the debate that's going on is being fueled on both sides by fear. In fact, you took one of my points I was going to make is that I think that all of these things are fueled by fear,
Right.
at some point, and a fear of something within us being unsettled. We'll get into that in a minute, but you've said on one side the fear is of the disease and fatality, and on the other side there's the fear of the crashing economy. So you've got fear on both sides. 100% agreed. But
Right.
this needs to come from a place of compassion for both sides, because the basis of both fears are real. And I think that's really important. There is a basis for fear. There are people in real economical, there's economic hardship on a scale. A lot of people are really struggling. I know a number of them. We have known 2 people who've committed suicide through this period. Somebody that was a member of the group that I was coaching and counseling. It was devastating that happened. More recently,
Yeah.
there are people suffering from depression. There is a lot of cause for this fear. However, attacking one another is just exacerbating and making the situation worse. So what we really need to do is come together, and that's what Talk is all about, right? Take it away.
Well, different views, people's both side views. Jay Fetter says, is there a difference between stating opinion and fact? Of course there is a difference between stating opinion and fact.
Everything is an opinion, because really I don't know if we're anyone.
You have to bring in
Say, for example,
factual information.
David, it's good looking. That's an opinion.
Mine. Anyways, you're on Talk with the lovely Shanti Niven and the Loaf, and we are here on Talk Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like our YouTube channel, and invite your friends to Facebook. Also, make sure that you register on realtalktalk.com. We're going to be having some special things. Hopefully next week, we're going to have a free option for people on there that they might very well like. We'll talk about that later.
Now, by the way, go and join. Come on.
Yeah.
And by the way, now you shamed me there. I didn't mean that in a nasty way. One thing David and I do is...
That's not shame. That's kidding. You're kidding around with me. That's different.
Of course, he's good looking. I mean, he's got all the girls going after. So getting back to the difficult subjects, and I don't want it to just be about COVID. COVID has become a difficult subject. Politics is a difficult subject. Religion is an extremely difficult subject. But I think that we can grow and learn so much more if we are, number one, curious. If we're curious and open to the opinions of others and saying, I hear you, or I want to hear you. What is it that you have to say? And ask more questions. Would you agree with that, David? I
would absolutely agree with that. I think the best discussions and the best answers come from the clash of opinions and the clash of the 2 views, that both sides can work together to say, well, no, I can agree with, I don't totally disagree with you. In fact, I had a discussion with somebody yesterday on Facebook, and, and I presented what I thought maybe that person was saying. And they said, no, that's not what I was saying at all. I was saying something like this. Okay. It just appeared that might be your opinion in this. And we come to an agreement. There's another one where similar I've had before in the past, where obviously multiple times where, oh yeah, no, I can see where we can relate in that area, but maybe in this little area it's a little bit different. And that's okay, because if we all are singing the same tune, it's going to make life kind of boring in the first place. But on top of that, we might as well be robots.
Right.
You
just made me think about is, my son David is on the spectrum. He's extremely literal, extremely.
Yeah.
He's provided me much entertainment through my life. But I think one of the funniest things was when I was sharing about heaven. When you die, you go to heaven, when he was a little boy. And he said, I don't want to go to heaven. And I said, why? I mean, it was the most bizarre thing ever. And he said, well, I think it's boring.
What do you do up there?
Boring, what do? You just sing and all day or whatever. There's no, and I knew what he actually meant. I didn't know how to explain this because I knew what he meant. It was meant that there's no challenges. It's good to have a certain amount to be challenged.
We're challenged throughout our whole life.
It causes us to grow. You and I are a good example of that, because we do argue about stuff, but we do it in very constructive and loving ways, really.
Yeah. Well, in some of this, I think that, let's read a couple of these. The discussion needs to come from a place of compassion for both sides, because the basis of the fears are real. That's Jeffrey Lee.
Before, yeah. So.
And then Richard Brazil says, The issue I see is with the emotion versus the logical when it comes to COVID. And that's very true. A lot of people get very emotional
Yeah,
on
Richard,
their opinion.
we need to remember that people are emotional beings, and this is something that, for example, David, he has got emotions, but he tends to come from his logic first. He's very logical. So sometimes emotions frustrate him. And come on, let's be honest, David, they do. So people's emotion get very emotional.
Oh my God, here we go. The emotional train.
And so, yeah, but the people are emotional beings. And so I think the secret here is that when somebody is in an emotional state, is to make them feel heard and to make them feel like their point matters, that their emotions matter.
Hey, Kelly. Mm-hmm.
Alethea. Hey, Alethea.
How do you explain a difficult subject to your kids when they ask you?
Oh, I'll tell you. Can I answer that one, David?
Are we doing birds and bees? Depends on the subject, I think. But yeah, you answer. Answer, please.
All right. Okay, because I've had some experience with some difficult subjects. And so it depends obviously on what the difficult subject is. But if they ask you, which my kids have, of, what's a blowjob? Was one of my...
What is a blowjob? Can you explain us?
Well, lucky enough, I was able to say, do you know when your hair is wet and you take the hairdryer and you...
Right. And you believe that all the way to here, right?
Give it a blowjob, right? So I think the first thing is, that was being a little facetious, but I think the first thing is age appropriate. Don't go, we need to be truthful, but we also we need to explain in simple terms and not to go too far into detail. And I think questions are very important, that kids are able to ask questions, that you're able to answer honestly. But as I say, you don't need to provide more detail than is necessary.
Yeah, you could just basically keep it up.
Right.
That's when a man and a woman are, well, I don't know. Then they're like, hey, look, mommy, they're doing blowjob, right? They're kissing in the park or something, right?
Well, my little story about David, where every time somebody was getting undressed, he related that to sex for some reason. Oh, it was because on the television they'd say sex and nudity, and so it was all together with him. And the moment there was any form of nudity going to happen, he had to cover his face because we would make him cover up.
Yeah.
And I think I told you the story how the woman from the dog grooming parlor phoned and said, could I speak to your father? And he said, he's at the gym. And she said, well, it was a woman. She said, well, could I speak to your mother? And he said, no, she's having sex in the bedroom. One of my most embarrassing moments, I was just undressing. And so there is a time for explain. It was a true story. It was very
right. Yeah.
Good evening.
I'm sure that woman was like, what?
Mother's having sex in the bedroom, and this little 4-year-old knows about it.
Right. And yeah, daddy's at the gym. That's so good. So Jeffrey Lee says, with children, an understanding of their stage of development is necessary. So the topic can be presented at an age appropriate level for each individual child. Right. A little kid, you tell them certain things, they're going to go out and say that. I watched a video that somebody posted on a little ring, and it was a school event. These little kids were there, and the teacher comes up to the front of the class. Hi, parents. Hi, boys and girls. And the little kid says, shut the F up, B. Like a like a 5-year-old. And she goes, well, that wasn't very nice. Yeah, we don't want to hear your crap. Anyways, B. And then they came, got the little kid just like, oh my God.
Kids are the one thing you want to know
Terrible.
what goes on with the kids, because they just copy everything the parents do. Then you know what's going on at home.
Right. Not good. Hey, Janelle.
Hi, Janelle. And
What at this point, David SFU.
Before you get dischanted.
Shut.
He doesn't know those words yet, Marty. Listen,
Is there a T in there?
Okay, so let's look at some of the difficult subjects that we have to face. One of them is also, this is one I wanted to bring up. You're in a relationship with somebody, it's not working out. Thank goodness, Yeah,
it's not you, it's me.
Right. Those sort of platitudes are not, to me, acceptable, because we know they're bull crap. So how
Right.
you have those difficult conversations and say, I'm not feeling it or whatever without hurting, because really our goal, none of us, I don't think, go out.
Sure. And yeah, you don't hurt anybody.
So suggestions.
Well,
What do you do, Loaf?
most don't want to. Oh, you don't ask me. I'd rather keep my opinion silent on that one. I'll give my trade secrets away.
Oh,
That's-
really?
That's just patented, man. That's just patented. I got copyright and stuff on that.
Oh my God. I think that is what okay, here's another thing I want to mention is that people in person, when you're actually in person with somebody, you're less likely to say offensive things and to be aggressive than you would be in a car or on the internet. Have you noticed the people on social media, they've got that screen to hide behind, and that allows them to be a little more aggressive, a little more offensive, whatever it may be. And then, hold on, the third layer, the mask. Now we've got a mask to hide behind. So now
Right.
I can do all sorts of stuff I wouldn't.
Put your hoodie on, your sunglasses on, and your mask.
Right.
It could be like the mask with like a skull or something. And then you look tougher.
And put any makeup on or worry about it.
Yeah.
Talk with Shanti Niven and the wonderful David Lofi. Look at his handsome face. He looks
The
like
loaf. I'm the loaf, remember?
the loaf. The
I
loaf.
even changed it on my little thing. So it's the
You're
loaf.
Talk, and we now want you, and I want you to listen to me right now, because you're going to do this right now.
Right
When
now.
we start this game, you're going to go to www.realtalktalk.com and you're going to register as a member, because otherwise you belong to Facebook. You don't belong to us. And we don't want to be ruled by Facebook, because, well, Facebook's frankly doing some pretty odd stuff lately. And the way they censor things and the way they control your information, stuff like that. I mean, I'm not willing to criticize with Facebook.
We don't want to control you either.
No.
But if we have your email, or we can contact you about events or things that are going on. Before COVID, we used to have a lot of social events. So people would go out, they'd meet in groups. We had quite a few before. I mean, I think from September to December, we probably had about 10 or 15 social meetings with people where groups getting met up in Fresno, Bakersfield, LA. I think most of them are like
the world.
Yeah.
We're going to get there. We'll get back to our social occasions, and we tried out the online socials, which
Yeah.
were a bit challenging with the Zoom bombing, but we want you to register so we can start those kind of socials again without others getting wind of it and coming in and I don't know what it is with people. Why do people do this stuff? Like,
Well, usually it's little kids are having fun with their own thing.
Remember when we were bombed? The first two people were adults. It's shocking, actually.
I was there the first time.
Oh, yeah, it was the first time two strangers popped in, and I thought, oh, they're new Talk members, and said welcome. And anyway, I won't get into all of that because I don't want to focus on negativity. The topic is how do you have tough conversations and not take each other's heads off, right?
Yeah. And I think that it's interesting how a lot of views right now, they're calling every kind of view that they don't want to hear or like. It's kind of like being silenced because it doesn't fit the narrative that we want, and they all kind of follow the same one. So it's very interesting. It's kind of like we're going down the rabbit hole, we're standing over it. We're getting ready. I mean, it's when certain things are said, a great example of where we were is comedians. Hey, Daniel. Comedians were, kind of silenced for a few years there. They really they weren't allowed to tell her, oh, they shamed them for, that's terrible that you'd say that joke about whatever else. And eventually somebody like Dave Chappelle came out, and now everybody's kind of getting back into, hey, what's a joke acceptable? And, it's like they shamed every single comedian. Who was the one, Richard Dreyfuss on the, not Richard Dreyfuss, the guy, Richard Dreyfuss from the Golden Globes?
Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
He's pretty out there. He's kind of like, he rose to the nth degree. You've got to have a thick skin to
Yeah.
humor.
Well, yeah, I think what he said though was, he said a lot of, humor has some truth in it, when it's put out. So hey, Jessica.
Hey, hi and goodbye,
Oh,
Jessica.
bye. Bye, Jessica.
Hi, goodbye.
But there's a lot of truth and a lot of humor that comes out of it. And sometimes that truth in the past, where humor and arts and all these things came from, are when the tyranny of the government came over the people, and a way for them to express those things in silence or in secret were through theatrical plays or art and different things. And that's comedy is an art.
Right.
Those people are very skilled.
And I think it's important for us to have a sense of humor and also to learn to laugh at ourselves. So it's very important. Now, I think the post of the week, and in fact, I stole this from my friend Jojo Knoll. It was on her wall. And I just love this because it was about what is civilization. And so here's the thing. Years ago, anthropologist Margaret Mead was asked by a student what she considered to be the first sign of civilization. And the student expected Mead to talk about fish hooks or clay pots or grinding stones, but no. Mead said that the first sign of civilization in an ancient culture was a femur, which is the thigh bone, that had been broken and then had healed. Odd answer, isn't it? But Mead explained that in the animal kingdom, if you break your leg, you are dead. You cannot run from danger, get to a river for a drink, or hunt for food. You are meat for prowling beasts. No animal survives a broken leg long enough for the bone to heal. So a broken femur that has healed is evidence that someone took the time to stay with the one who fell, bound up the wound and carried the person to safety, tended the person through to recovery. And so the answer really is that helping someone else through difficulty is where civilization starts. And Ira Byock says we are at our best when we serve others. So that is being civilized. So I guess the call that we're making tonight is for civil discourse. So are we living in a civilized time, or are we reverting to primitive ways of attack? Where I love that whole Ubuntu principle.
Mm-hmm.
And I am, because we are thinking about one another as a community. We don't have to agree. Heavens, it would be boring if we all agreed. Let us challenge one another, but let us challenge one another with civility, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm. Based on opinion. So Janelle says Facebook censored her for sharing the facts about masks from a doctor. And they're kind of like cracking down on some stuff that's like, having difficult conversations involves finding the proper filters for whatever subject you were discussing, says Marty Richardson. And then Richard Brazil says, I grew up with Mel Brooks as such. I'm not easily offended. I agree, right? If you watch Mel Brooks.
Marty's comment actually bears a little bit more thought here. Having difficult conversation involves finding the proper filters for whatever subjects you are discussing.
And age group.
Right. So yes, I agree. And here's the thing. It just requires, here's the $1 million advice. That is, remember I always used to say, between an impulse and an action, there is a space. And in that space is a thought. So if we could just stretch that space out a little bit and insert a thought before a word is spoken. In other words, think about how is this going to be received? Because our goal as communicators is to communicate a message in a way that it can be received. If you attack, it will never be received. You're going to get a counterattack. And invariably, the counterattack is stronger than the attack. And so this escalates, right? Daniel wants to know why I've not changed my last name yet. Well, the answer, Daniel, is I'm not married yet.
But the answer is it's your last name. Scott says the act of persuasion by the uninformed becomes an all-out war in today's world of social media outlets and becomes a total shaming. People get lured into discussions with less than accurate ideas. And I think that some of the ideas are, I mean, in my opinion, I don't believe anybody has the ideas. I mean, when this thing first started, we're going to have 2.2 million people dead. And I haven't seen that. And I don't think we're going to.
One subject. And you know what? This holds true for so many things. that, so for example, people were talking about how we have atheists who don't believe in God because they cannot see God. They
Right. Different view.
God, it's not, you know, but then they believe in something like COVID, which they also can't see.
Right. Or UFOs. Or, you know.
I don't believe we could all be being conned by media. We could all be the victims of propaganda. We don't really know, truthfully. I
Yeah.
tend to err on the side of caution. I don't believe everything automatically, but I do my research. I try to make intelligent decisions, but I'm also not rigid. Because in the beginning, I was like, okay, everybody, you know, social
This is
distancing,
it.
masks, you know, isolation. We need to get, you know, and I have somewhat changed.
That's where I was in the beginning. I was like, okay, isolation, masks. Did that for a couple months. Then started to go look at the numbers, and they started saying, hey, we're not using these models anymore. We're going to go to the data, and anybody can do the math from the data. They have all the data out there. Very simple. You take the population based on the mortality rate. But there's other numbers. Other people have argued now that
due to brain
mortality is not the argument. It's how many people have it now. And we will never know because everybody has to be tested. And well, okay, now you're shooting mortality rates, everything. Because we have to look at, in my opinion, mortality rates, everything, because we have to look at humanity overall. The human race has been through diseases before. They didn't have a vaccine for the Spanish flu. A quarter of the United States died.
right.
But they did what they did. In a couple of years, that Spanish flu dissolved. The Hong Kong flu, another one. They didn't have. That was during, you know, Woodstock. And they didn't have a vaccine for that and never did. And everybody just kind of went on. So there's a lot of different things that people fear. And I was saying herd immunization. I was corrected. It's herd immunity is the correct term, which is one methodology that has worked throughout time over the human race. But
just suggest that we don't get stuck on the subject of COVID.
I'm not. Yeah, you don't want to get on it either or stay on it either. But you are on Talk with Shanti Niven and The Loaf. And please subscribe, like, and share our YouTube channel. Invite your friends to the page. We're having discussions. And don't forget to sign up on realtalktalk.com.
And I promise is a promise. We are going to get together a panel of people to talk about the dating game. Because David and I candidly agree that we're not experts and we do not really know how it all works. So we're still going to do the panel. And if you'd like to be on our Zoom panel, let us know. We want to have female, male points of view. The other thing that I want to mention is that if anybody has, you can write directly to us or to any one of our wonderful team of moderators. We have them all listed on the group. We have an incredible group. And we actually want to start introducing them to you guys so you know just what fantastic personalities they have. We're going to be moving into the game soon, David. But I want to say on a last note, and that is that our goal in this group has been and always will be, even when we fail, is that we want to find ways to communicate in more productive ways so that everybody wins from this, that we learn and grow. That's the ultimate goal.
Right.
The final authorities on anything? Nope. I always say that I will learn until the day I die. I'm not rigid. I want to hear what people have to say. I'm insatiably curious. And I want to learn what people have to say. One of the most frustrating aspects of human nature, the thing that makes me, David's eyeballs, watch those eyeballs going all over the place.
I know. You won't believe it just happened.
One of the most frustrating things for me is when people are rigid. I find that so difficult to deal with, like a rigid, fixed mindset. I think let's just be encouraged to stay into a growth mindset, have a sense of humor, have some fun. And also, and then one last thing I want to say in terms of lesson is timing is also everything. Timing is everything. You could, you know, David knows this, for example, he can tease me, even said this today. He can say stuff that I just laugh at. And he says, oh, you know, his ex would freak out if he had to say that, but I laugh it off because I know him. But if he catches me at a bad time, right, you just never know. I might be snappy. So timing is very important. Number two is intent. your intentions have to be good. If your intention is just to hurt somebody, then then maybe you need to question there's something wrong there, right?
Yeah.
And then number three, so number one is timing, number two is intent, and number three is the way you deliver it, the tonality of it. And really think about how you deliver that. And that's something we're going to be going over in weeks to come. So what just happened, Liv?
Oh,
Okay, I won't ask.
and
No,
software came up on my computer that was running something in the background while the show was going. So
Thomas Fortenberry just said
monitor.
it's my favorite. Education should be lifelong. It's a mindset, not a level of attained courses or degrees.
Right.
Whatever I have learned academically pales in comparison to what I have learned through experience and through
Right.
open-minded and through listening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm not against higher education, but I'm, I have a master's degree, but I'm still at the belief that maybe education systems should even be possibly changed somewhat to more construct more to what you're doing rather than do all this. You'll never use it.
Sometime, because I actually am missing for the show. I was invited onto an educational panel for tonight.
Yeah.
200 people on this thing, and they're going to be talking about the future of education, and they asked me to be involved. Actually, I've got 2 invites tonight to go into various things, but I think that's an important topic for us to address. What's going to happen with education, and what should education look like? So we probably look at that down the line. It's game time. We only have 14 minutes. Now, we thought, look.
Well, we could start now, don't you think? It's possible.
Okay. No. Okay, so the goal of the game, because look, we've had a
You haven't said what the game was. You guys say what it is?
Pretty intense subject, pretty deep, pretty serious. Now we need to move into more funny stuff. So you guys who are watching the show right now have a job in your hands. David and I are going to go, we're going to have deadpan faces, which, David, please, you're making me laugh as it is. Now, it's called Make Me Laugh. If David laughs before me, he loses a point. If I laugh, I lose a point. Ellie's going to keep score. But we're also going to see which one of our members is able to make us laugh. So you guys have got to start already. Tell us a joke. Say, whatever it is that you think will make us laugh. Anything that will make us laugh.
And you win a prize.
And also, Lofi, you can, now look, we're not telling jokes tonight. We'll do that another night. But you can put a face in order to make me laugh if you want to.
I can tell some jokes.
As long as you don't show the photograph that you have, that is not okay.
That's blackmail.
See, 1 point down. Lofi, give him a point.
What?
Ellie, give David a point. I got him to laugh.
No, you don't get to. Oh, you mean we get to? I thought everybody else was going to make us laugh, not us.
We can make each other laugh. But the ones to laugh now, laughing is showing teeth and, even like. So it's not just talking.
It's not just talking.
I'll give you another chance. Ellie, take that point off. We're going to start now.
Don't other people have to say things? That's a point. That's 2 points. That's 3 points.
No, stop it. You don't
Keep it up. Keep it up.
That was one laugh. Ellie, I got 1 point off. I'll agree.
That's 4 points.
No, it's not.
Look, I keep getting points because I keep making you laugh by adding up points. And it's funny. So you keep laughing, which means I'm extending that out, which adds up to points.
You're breaking
That's
the
how it
rules.
works.
It's not funny.
That's how it works.
That is not funny.
You're trying to make me laugh like little kitty face. Look, you made yourself laugh on your own face. I don't laugh. That's the problem. I never laugh.
All right, folks, please, girls, ladies, help me make David laugh because we achieved that last time. All right, can we start the state?
But the things they said to make me laugh last time.
Right. Can we? Okay, can we start now? Let me just get my laughter out of me.
But wait. We're gonna start now. You don't get the 6 points.
No, shut up. Stop it.
The Lord said unto John, "Come forth and receive eternal life." But John came in fifth and won a toaster.
You did it. There we go. I saw your teeth.
My teeth show when I talk.
You.
I see your teeth right now. I see your teeth.
No, but you smiled. You weren't saying anything.
I did not smile.
You
I
did.
never smile. I don't even like to smile. I hate to smile. I thought for sure Shanti would win the game, which indicates that she already feels you lost the game. Just saying. It says it right there.
My side, please.
She's implying you already lost. I thought for sure Shanti would win the game, and she has implied you lost the game. And I agree. You're down 4. David, your wife is coming back to you. That would be.
It would make him cry, Daniel. What the hell?
That's gonna make me cry. Please don't come back. Please.
You're not helping me, Daniel. Come on, say something that you know will make him laugh. And girls, I need you. Jeffrey,
Shanti was close.
yeah, Jeffrey, you're supposed to be helping me. Please direct stuff at Lofi. And Shosh,
Oh.
you're the one. Shosh,
Yeah, Shosh. Give it to me. Let's hear a joke.
what do you want her to give to you?
A joke. You're terrible. Jesus Christ.
Well,
What are you implying, I should say? So,
okay, folks, we need you to make David Lofi laugh.
I'm non-laughable. I never laugh.
Make the loaf laugh.
I never laugh.
Say why he's named the loaf.
I have no idea. Why am I the loaf?
Well, because
Loaf.
it's full of dough and
Meatloaf. My friends used to call me that when I was younger, and I'd have these girls ask, "Why do they call you Meatloaf?" True story, I swear.
of course you have to. You have to.
And then I would reply,
Right. You know,
But-
to make shortcomings.
to make what? All right, I'll take a point. 1 out of 6 ain't too bad.
But you won.
I
David.
got one. Shanti has at least 2. Come on.
I've had one, and now you've got one. You have got one.
No, that's not fair.
Eric. Don't.
I think the group is running out of jokes. You guys are out of jokes. Nobody's got any jokes. Have we had any other jokes in there?
Come on, guys.
We don't get to see the Facebook page for jokes.
Richard Bazzica.
David is the beard.
Is that a
Is
beard?
that a beard or bed?
Commercial.
Mm-hmm.
What milk?
Is that a horsetail or is that a ponytail? What is that?
There we go. Eddie says Shanti won, David won. It's a ponytail.
No, I won.
What are you trying to say? I'm an old horse. I'm a nag.
I'm not saying anything. I'm saying that.
No, what's good for you, you won't say anything.
What did they get us on last time? All that naughty stuff they were saying about you.
It wasn't about me. It was about you.
I think it was about you.
My son has all the spare batteries in his room. I've learned, by the way, in America, batteries, which is what I call them, are called batteries. I asked him for 2 AA batteries, and he proceeded to ask me why I needed them. So I shut him up really fast by telling him my vibrator died, and he won't ask me why again. I hope your son is of a respectable age, Catherine.
Yeah.
I mean, he laughed. Eddie, did you see that? That was a
A
laugh.
perfectionist walked into a bar. Apparently, the bar was set
Wasn't
high enough. Wasn't set high enough. The bar wasn't set high enough.
But that was a chuckle before. Ellie, please put a point on his side.
You got some like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8
Five.
points.
We had 6 minutes to make the loaf laugh.
You got 5 minutes.
5 minutes. 5 minutes to make the loaf laugh. Come on, we've got to come up with some good content here.
You've already like squeezed an extra one in on me and taken like 6 off of you. I mean, how many times did you go through?
Shanti 1, David 2. Oh, I'm winning. I am.
No, that's what she writes. Yeah.
And you just chuckled again. Give him another point, Eddie.
I did not. Hey, if you're going to do that, you have to give her the 6 points. There she goes. That's a point. That's like 8 points. Just keep it up. Keep it up.
That was nuts. You get 1 point for a laugh.
Yes. No. That's like 8 points, man.
Janelle says something.
It is true. What? Go ahead. It is true that if man gets hit in the balls, that men from 20 miles around know his pain.
Is that true, David?
Is it true? Yeah.
Get
True.
David to read the jokes because he can't read.
What, Catherine? Why do you need?
No, stop it. Don't give
No,
me
that's a point. That's 3.
a good laugh. Doesn't mean I have to get extra points. What the hell? You just go 1.
I'm not saying giving you 3. I'm saying giving you. You're at 3. I'm at 2.
Okay, so Daniel has a very legitimate question. Catherine.
I saw it. What do you think about that? Why don't you explain? Please.
That's what those different.
3. I'm 2. There's no 3 here. Come on. What is that?
Okay, so now why does she?
What did you do?
That's one of those tough topics that we were talking
Did you
about.
like pass an envelope under to Ellie there?
No, listen, that's one of
Hey,
those
Ellie.
topics about why she needs a vibrator.
What's a vibrator?
It's something that vibrates, and I believe it loosens stiff muscles. So you
It's a
can get
muscle relaxer.
massager. It's a massage.
Muscle relaxing massager. Okay.
So you guys pronounce everything wrong. Is it a massage or a massage?
Jeffrey Lee says, marking their territory, a fire hydrant has H2O on the inside and K9P on the outside. K9P. 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 You know what that is? It's like a dog comes up there, stand beside it.
No, I didn't know that, Lofi.
I just thought I'd let you know. Catherine Miller says it was sarcasm to get her to laugh for being so noisy.
It was sarcasm.
Okay, now I have 3. I'll take that.
Oh, it was sarcasm to get him.
I
back.
only had 2. There was no, she added one to me and she shouldn't have.
But Catherine, how old is your son?
He's like 21.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Janelle wants to know how you feel about vibrators.
How do I feel about him?
Itchy eyeball.
How do I feel about him?
How do you scratch your eyeball?
Shanti with the triple T Shanti. So Janelle wants to know how you feel about vibrators.
No, she asked you.
Oh, did she?
It says there, David, how do you feel about vibrators? I want to know. I'm waiting.
It was sarcasm to get him
No, stop getting off point. You're trying
back for being so nosy.
distract yourself because you are so competitive.
Let's just go with noisy.
You are so
Shanti with the triple Shanti. Okay. We're gonna get something better. So now you've learned some things in this show. You learned what a fluffer was. Do you remember the fluffer? We all had a good laugh on you.
how you get the
about
word.
the fluffer. What was a fluffer, anyways? Can you tell me what a fluffer is?
I want to know how you get the word fluffer, well, what it means from a word that is soft and fluffy. I mean, like what has fluffer got to do with what this person does?
The term, the fluffer. They fluff up.
We're getting
Oh,
to
I think it has to do with, like, pillows, and you fluff up the pillows. It's like the fluffer, the prepper. Tough sentencing. Did you hear about the semicolon that broke the law? He was given 2 consecutive sentences.
Jeffrey Lee, this is far too intelligent for David. It won't make him laugh. You're not even on my side.
Okay, a bad battery joke.
Oh. That was relating to the vibrator. It was a bad battery joke.
With the AAA.
It's 7 p.m. Hmm.
But what if it's
Who's the winner? Ellie, tell
like
us
a D battery?
who's the winner. Who got the highest?
What if it's D battery?
It's the end of the show now. It's 7:01 already. Ellie, who won?
Do they make them in solar panels these days? Solar powered?
Solar powered vibrator.
Yeah.
You put a vibrator on the brain. Okay.
I'm just wondering.
I need to find out the results before I end the show.
Anyway.
Who? Ellie.
No. Ellie. Who? She.
Hi. 3-3.
All right. You're going down. All right.
I'm going down right. Actually, I think you should have given another one because he did a little snicker, like literally half a minute ago. So I think I should win.
She should have like 8 more. Like you just went on and on, laughing and laughing. I'm like, yeah, that's 8. We're cheater.
All you do is talk, talk. Talk, 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 talk. All you do is talk, talk. Talk, 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 talk. All you do is talk, talk.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for joining us.